Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Glad you all are here. Yay, it's good to see you all joining in. I'm really excited about this interview. So as you all are joining in, I'm excited to get this started and excited to talk to you all about Rwanda, which is a very special place to me. So I am going to do something really quickly and hopefully you all enjoy this. Can everybody hear me okay? I put AirPods in, but I'm realizing they might not even be connected. So let me know if you all can hear me, and I'm gonna keep plowing forward. Okay, y'all can hear me. All right. So Rwanda is a really special place to me. And I have gotten to visit Rwanda about, I want to say 3 times now. And so I am really excited that I get to talk to you all a little bit more about this special place. So I first went to Rwanda in 2010, and I learned a lot when I was there. This top picture is me in Rwanda in 2010 for the first time, and I went on a trip with some people from a school that I was at, and the trip ended up being eye-opening and slightly dramatic because I was with some people who really just did not understand the context of race, and I experienced a lot of racism from fellow team members while I was on the trip. But there was something that felt almost magical to me about Rwanda because I had never been in the continent of Africa, and it was the first time that I was seeing everybody that looked like me. I had never been surrounded by so many people that looked like me. So I learned a lot and I grew a lot, and I had so much fun in these experiences and the culture and the food, everything. It was just so impactful for me. And I was able to go back after 2010. This is the first time I went. I was able to go back in 2017 with a group of all Black women, which was a very healing trip for me and for many of us, being able to connect in Rwanda. If you don't know, if you are from the U.S. or your family are descendants of those who have been enslaved and you are not sure exactly where your roots are, there's something really healing about going to another country and being able to see other Black people who look like you and to connect and to tell your story and to exchange stories. It's just very powerful. And that's what this trip did for me. And then in 2019, a group of us from Be the Bridge went on a learning exchange trip to Rwanda with Africa New Life. So 2017 is when I was introduced to Africa New Life, which is an organization founded by Pastor Charles, who I'm going to be interviewing shortly. And this organization is Rwandan-led, which is what I loved about it. I had already fallen in love with the country of Rwanda, but being in a lot of spaces, usually you would go overseas, and the organization was not Rwandan-led. So being with an organization that was Rwandan-led was very important to me, and to learn and grow from the Rwandan people who are just incredible leaders. So we were able to meet Governor Fred, talk about reconciliation, the steps the country has actually taken to make changes and to actually walk out what reconciliation looks like, right? We're talking a lot about that in this context in America. What does all of this mean? Where do we go from here? It was great to see overseas how that has been accomplished and what we can learn from that. And so the other thing is that through Africa New Life and what they're doing for the community, I've been able to partner alongside Lois, who is the young girl who I partner with her parents to help with her education. And monthly I donate to help support Lois, and I absolutely love her. This is the pictures of us meeting for the first time. And she was so excited, and she was hoping that the person who would be really helping to donate towards her education would be a Black woman. As you can imagine, that meant the world to me to be able to be that to her. So, what we're going to be talking today is learning more about African New Life, how you all can really continue to listen and learn from them, and what we can learn from their stories, and how you can also learn more about African New Life and partner up. So you can't see it because I'm in the way, but it says you can make a difference. And the website is africannewlife.org. And this is beautiful Lois, who I get the pleasure of working with her parents and supporting them. They are incredible people, and I'm just so grateful I get to come alongside them and help make sure that Lois is the best that she can be for the world, and she's going to make some amazing moves. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Pastor Charles and get him on here. Hey, how's it going?
Faith.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. This is my first time doing a slideshow, so I have no idea how to get this picture off. So it's just going to stay.
Okay. I like the picture.
Yes, it is a good picture, isn't it? I love Lois. She is incredible. And it was so fun to meet her for the first time. So why don't you tell everyone that there might not be familiar with you and with African New Life, just about African New Life and why you started it?
Cool. Okay. My name is Charles Mugisha. I'm the president and the founder of African New Life Ministries. African New Life Ministries was founded in response to the genocide that happened here in Rwanda, the genocide of the Tutsi people. Some of you may remember in 1994, we actually had a genocide that wiped out nearly 1 million people from the Tutsi Finiki group. And for a number of years, my family had lived in refugee camps here, refugee in Uganda. And finally, in 95, when the war ended, I came back here to my home country to see the survivors and what was actually happening. I remember taking that trip. For me, it looked like Nehemiah visiting Jerusalem and looking for ways to restore Jerusalem. I was 26, and God completely broke my heart. Just like you can see that child out there, children break our hearts when we see children suffering, because children tend to suffer more than adults do. And I felt God calling me to start a ministry that would help so many children. Today, we are sponsoring around 12,000 children in the nation of Rwanda, multiple schools, church plants, a hospital, and we can see this nation rising from the dust to become what God wants Rwanda to become, to come out of pain and hopelessness and build a future for the next generation behind us.
Yes. And I think this is really important. So as a social worker, I want to highlight some of the work that you all do, and the fact that I think it'd be great if you tell everybody how in each community that you all are in, you have a very holistic approach to how you serve the community. What does that look like?
You know, I call it serving God with the two hands, or preaching the gospel with the two hands. Is the whole idea of the gospel as known from scripture, but also the gospel as lived out from scripture, which I call compassion and love. Is the great commandment and the great commission together. So for us in a community, we really focus on educating children because we believe that the difference between poor children and rich kids or able families is the quality of education they get. So African New Life has a focus on providing quality education to help children break the cycle of poverty and learn to stand on their own. Now, education alone is not enough. We totally believe that at the core of everything we can ever do, children need a relationship with Jesus. Their families need a relationship with Jesus Christ. And we provide a church in the community and a pastor to provide for the spiritual life of the community. Now, it's good to have a good education, have a good, great relationship with Jesus Christ, but then you need to have a healthy body. You need to be drinking clean water. You need to be eating vegetables. You need to be having a good nutrition to be able to be healthy. Because if you're not healthy, then how are you going to take classes in school? So we're providing that area of community care through agricultural work in the community, through medical care, through nurses who provide public health care in the community. And we walk around building a holistic community that is transformational, but also an environment that allows these kids to grow healthy, mentally, spiritually, and physically.
Yes. I think as one of the things that's been so impactful for me watching and getting to see what's happening firsthand with the students, with Lois, who is incredible and so brilliant and was reading to me and talking to me, I really, one thing I noticed was just the care and that all of the staff have for the people. And it reminds me just to see the resilience in the community of how hard you all have worked for reconciliation. So as we talk about that, what do you think are some ways the U.S. can learn from what you all have done in Rwanda in terms of reconciliation and what that's looked like and the work you're continuing to do? Because this is ongoing work. This is not quick work. This is work that we're going to
Wow.
always have to continue to do.
You know, that is a very challenging question because we are looking at two different contexts.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at ethnic divisions here,
Yeah.
and it looks really differently, but also we are looking at possibly people who speak the same language, and much of what happened here was a result of colonialism, and we were divided by colonialists who came over from Europe and took over our country. The beauty is that we were able to get our countries back and got independence. And although we got independence, we still had challenges because we were handed over countries and nations we never ran before. And we had to learn to lead. The biggest thing I think between the US and Rwanda we can share and we all need, which is really the core of reconciliation here, has been good leadership. And we've had good leaders who have worked hard to stop the divisions and focus on uniting people. And for the last 20 years, the entire nation, from legislation to police to military to the parliament, the entire nation to community leaders, we've all been working towards the reconciliation. In fact, in Rwanda, we say unity and reconciliation are the two pillars of our nation. But when you look at it here, over 90% of the nation, this is what we are working towards. We have a few people who still divide us. We have a few nations that still divide us. But we are focusing on developing a united nation. And then number two, God has provided an amazing level of grace in the area of forgiveness. When you look at the level of forgiveness that has taken place here, I just accredit it to the work of the Holy Spirit in the hearts of people. Because how do you forgive someone who killed your parents? How do you forgive someone who killed your children? So what the government did was to take the whole idea of forgiveness all the way to communities, where communities would gather and families that killed other families would actually stand up and confess their sin and their evil, and then as a result seek forgiveness. But then still the government had to provide ways of providing justice. So
Yeah.
they don't just get off because they said, forgive me. They had to restore things they had destroyed. They had to build homes for the orphans and for the widows. Some of them who were ringleaders had to live in prison and still provide restitution in the community. So there are so many things that have happened here. I mean, it's a whole book, but everything has been driven by good legislation and good leaders who are following through the legislation and the
Yeah.
willingness of everyone to work towards unity and reconciliation. And partly it's because we are tired. I mean, we've been fighting for many years. I mean, all my life, I've lived through one war to another war, all the way till I was like 26 years of age. So we are tired of fighting. We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want a better Rwanda for our children.
Yes. I I really resonate with what you're saying. And as you're talking about your legislation, I want you to talk about the women that you have, the powerful women that are leaders in the country, because I think it's important to talk about that, the leadership that you have there and the role that women are playing.
You know, over 60% of our parliament is made of women. We have a huge number of women who are cabinet ministers. Those would be like a secretary of state in America. I remember at one time our mayor was a woman, our vice mayor was a woman, and the chief of police was a woman. And I remember working with these women in the city. You know, there's something special about women leadership. It comes with a level of justice and compassion and
Mhm.
love. Okay, especially for love that takes care of the differences, because
Yes.
these mothers tend to embrace different ethnicities easier than guys do, if we can get it. Because you find out that this mother may be Tutsi, but she has Hutu kids, and she
Mhm.
wants a better life for her children, or she's Hutu and her husband is Tutsi. She wants a better place for her children. But also, mother experience the pain of war more than even men do. Men go to fighting, men get engaged in the fighting, and women become victims. So
Mhm.
this time, the victims became the leaders, and they
Mhm.
had to put in place the kind of legislation they think is safe for their children. So mothers
Mhm.
making decisions for the next generation. And it's been a
Yes.
beautiful thing.
I think that's so incredible to also highlight, right? Not only has unity amongst the parliament and the government been significant, but also the people and how that has been such an important component in what you all are doing, and how it's made such a difference. I also want to say to everybody watching, especially if you're a Black person watching, for me, being in Rwanda has been so healing. We were able to go to Azizi Life and we were talking and we were explaining to some of the women there who had not really heard of the story of enslavement and how Black people were coming over to America, they were kind of confused, like, how are you Black and you're not from here, but you're from there? And we were talking to them about enslavement and that story, and they were in tears, and they were just saying
Yeah.
how they were so sorry. I'm so sorry that that happened. And, then we're crying. And we were explaining how we don't know exactly our origins, what country or tribe our ancestors are from, and just the loss that you feel not being able to really know that. And they looked at me and the others of us in the room and said, well, we love you and you're Rwandan now. And that moment has really stayed with me all this time, because it is like a sense of belonging you don't think you even know that you need, and that you were able to discover and to have. And so that has been so special to me. So I consider Rwanda my home now,
Yes,
because
Faith.
yes, because I've been so loved and
And consider
embraced
my
there.
my my home your address in Rwanda.
Yes. 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 And so one thing I feel like it's important to also highlight is the relationships that you all have continued to build with different organizations. So I got connected with you all through Amina Brown, through the Woman to Woman trip. And also we've partnered through Be the Bridge on a learning exchange trip with you all, which was completely incredible last year to be able to do that and send a team to learn from you all. What's that connection been like with your relationship with Be the Bridge, and as we've been able to come together and do some incredible things?
I really think it's been a real breakthrough for us, because you are educating us about our African American brothers and sisters out there. Most of the people here in Africa don't actually know that there are African people on other continents of the world. We think Black Africa is right here in Africa below the Sahara. Otherwise, the rest of the world doesn't. Now, when you come to Rwanda, apart from the way you walk, the way you speak, we can't actually know. You look like my sister Speciosa. We wouldn't know whether you're African American or you are from Kenya or Tanzania. We wouldn't know. So it's really been very educative, but also it's helped us to understand what actually the African American people have gone through, because we don't know it. There are no history classes here about the African American culture and what you have gone through. All we get is what we see in the movies, and the movies don't, Hollywood doesn't always tell the story. The other thing we've also been able to see is to see African American families deciding to partner with the parents in Rwanda to sponsor children. That is a beautiful thing. I want to see more of that happening on a greater scale, whereby more African American people can actually have a partner family in Rwanda, family they can visit, they can spend time with, they can fly from America and come to Rwanda and feel at home. The other thing we've also enjoyed it to see is it's the whole idea that yes, we may be different in terms of where you've been raised in America. I was raised up in Rwanda, but we have so much in common as African people.
Yes, we do. And I want to highlight as we close, this is going to be my last question to you. What's been going on with as COVID-19 has affected the world? So it's easy to get really insular and think about how it's affected America, but really the whole entire world has been greatly impacted by COVID-19. What has that meant for you all, for Africa New Life, and ways that you're now working to partner with the community and help?
It's, COVID-19 is the worst thing that has ever happened in my lifetime. The fear that comes with it is enormous. I mean, there's a lot of fear here, trying to explain how you get it and how you don't get it,
Yes.
it's been challenging. But then it has affected the economy here. Thank God we closed the alley so that we've had limited number of patients, sick people. We've had, I think, 3 people die here in Rwanda. But the lock up of the country and the borders and the airport has messed up this economy. Many people are without jobs. And here we don't have welfare like you do in America. So we have no ways to take care of the poor, and the church, and on a very small scale, the government gets involved. So we've been feeding people. We've been feeding people. Thank God for all of you, our donors, and all of you who participate in African New Life on 7 different campuses. We've been feeding him at the 12,000 children, this time including their families. We are continuing to provide education, and we take education into the homes of our students who are not coming to
Wow.
school because we don't have internet here. So what we've done is to create the old-fashioned correspondence school. So we take education to the children, and then the children bring back their coursework to get food. And as a result, we are continuing to take care of the community. We really want to be with the families and the children we sponsor because we don't want to lose what we've already been doing.
Right.
Therefore, we are trying to strengthen hope. We are trying to strengthen the community. We are trying to strengthen faith. We are in a process of strengthening the good work we've been doing so that COVID-19 does not erode what has been built here. So pray for us as we
Yes.
work hard in different communities to strengthen faith, to strengthen hope, to strengthen the community, to strengthen education.
Yes, I will do that. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me and for telling everybody more about
Yeah.
African New Life and the work that is happening. It is incredible, blows my mind all of the time. And I am just so grateful that you are leading in this work and that this organization exists. It's Rwandan led, and we get to partner alongside you and so many other people to help build up the work of African New Life. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Faithy, and thank you for the good work you do. I remember following you in Houston when there was a big flood there. You did a tremendous job. Thank you so much. I'm proud of
Thank
you,
you.
and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. Once again, if you got here late, this is Lois, the young, beautiful young girl that I get to partner with her family to support her education. I encourage you to go check out the website I've listed below, africannewlife.org, and see the work that they're doing. And if there's a way that you can also partner with a family there and really help this work, it's really easy to be focused in on what we're doing here in the United States, but the truth is there's a lot going on elsewhere. So if you have time, extra spare dollars, use of your influence, please consider supporting a nonprofit that is Rwandan led, which is so significant, and continue to support Black people doing good work. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I hope that you all have a phenomenal day. Bye.